What's up, everybody? Listen, this is the Shaping Your New Start Education Podcast. Let's get ready to begin. What's up, everybody? This is Dr. Phil 2, and you're watching the Shaping Your New Start Education Podcast, where we talk everything and anything education. I got an awesome guest coming on in just a few minutes, but we would love for you to share this video out. We would love for you to go to our YouTube channel, Shaping Your New Start, and subscribe. We'd love for you to do that even right now and just subscribe to our channel. Share with an educator that you feel will benefit from our podcast because we got something great coming up. We want to also let you know we have some sponsors. So today is sponsored by McGuire Wear, Fashion Your Faith. You can get the new Don't Quit hoodies, okay? www.mcguireent.com/McGuire Wear. So check out McGuire Wear, Fashion Your Faith, and that is our sponsor for the evening. I can't wait to bring in our guest. We're going to bring him in just a minute. And listen, it's going to be awesome. Make sure you share this video. Make sure you like and also subscribe. Here we go. Shaping Your New Start. Hey, what's up? What's up? We are on the podcast with my man, Eric Hayes, educator and motivational speaker. What's going on, bro?
Oh, doing well, my man. Doing well. Thank you so much for having me on. It's a blessing to be here.
Yeah. So glad you're on. Listen, we are, let's see, we're 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, but we're 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. So we're in different time zones and it's all good. That's how we do this. That's how we get this out here. Tell us where you are, what you're doing. What are you doing now?
So I am in Mesquite, Texas. I am a U.S. history teacher at Mesquite ISD, and specifically I teach sophomores.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Yes,
awesome.
sir.
So you teach a lot of history and out there in Texas. So you've got a lot of lessons that you teach from day to day. How do you connect history with current events?
I think it's just always bringing it back to what's going on right now and how it started. There's always some type of foundation that's laid. For example, we're just going over civil rights. And I think it's rich in history, especially in U.S. history. And it's I let the students know that, hey, it was used as a model for the rest of the world on how to get, civil rights done and equality and equity and things of that nature to get that ball rolling. And it was really started back in the 60s. So I try to do my best every single day to make sure that the students know that what we're learning is for life and not just for our state mandated test that we got to take here in a couple months.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that could be tough, man. Just,
Yeah.
it's tough being creative within the structure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. And you also don't want to, the biggest issue as well is you don't want to bring your own biases in.
Yeah.
We were just talking about Roe versus Wade last class, and I always was conscious like, hey, don't bring your own bias. This is not your opportunity to do that. Nor as a professional, let these kids talk it out. And we had some great conversations, and I was really proud of my students. Like, your first reaction is like, oh, what are they going to say? Oh no. But you're like, no, these young adults can conduct themselves in appropriate and in a professional manner, as long as you just give them parameters and let them be free and let them know it's a safe place. So I always started off, hey guys, whatever is said here, respect the person. You may not agree, but let's do so with dignity, professionalism, and let's make sure we're doing things the right way. And I was really proud of them. It was great.
That's awesome. There's not too many male teachers. There are a lot, but there's still a very small percentage of male teachers. What got you into teaching?
Well, it's actually a funny story. I actually started teaching by accident. I never grew up to be a teacher. As a matter of fact, in high school, I barely even graduated. I was 6'20" at a 6'40" back in Tucson, Arizona, where I was from. And I never saw myself teaching. I actually got into it because in the state of Texas, you have to teach in order to coach. And I originally started off the coaching path. I played college football in Arizona and Missouri, came down here in Texas to be a GA at a local private school, and then met my wife, and we needed to make some more finances. And one of the coaches I knew hooked me up with a position at a private school, and they need a science teacher, and I got my bachelor's in kinesiology. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm teaching. And
Wow.
yeah, so my first year teaching, I was finishing up my master's. My wife and I just got married. We were pregnant with our first daughter, and we had one car, and she just became a teacher at that point too, an art teacher, and I was teaching 5 preps.
Wow.
So I had no idea what I was doing. I was just trying to make sure I was surviving, and it was a lot at one time. And I was coaching football too at the same time.
Okay.
So
Wait,
baptized by fire.
that's awesome. And that's awesome that you are a football coach as well. So what did you learn from being a coach? What do you teach as far as being a coach? Because a lot of kids, you see a lot of professionals don't play the basics. How important is the basics that you teach?
Yeah, yeah. So I coached for 5 years. I just got out this past year.
Hmm.
But they still call me Coach Hayes. It's my third year at the school that I'm at now. But you got to teach those fundamentals, just like writing and English and spelling, things of that nature. If the kids don't know the stance and character, more importantly, the school I'm at, it's all about character. We have so much character building into our athletes. It's unreal. It's very uncommon, but we see that as number one. If we don't get these young men, young ladies ready for life to be professionals, to be future moms, to be future dads, congressmen, or what have you, then we're not doing our job. We want to win games for sure. It's Texas. Football is everything here, but we got to make sure we're building these young men and ladies up. So we always start with character. We always hold them accountable. We have a great coaching staff that has been consistent for the years and years that they've been here. And anybody who comes on, it's get with the program. This is what we do. We don't belittle these kids. We're not, calling them out their names. We're uplifting them. And the head coach does a great job of establishing the standard and making sure if you're going to be here, you're going to be a part of the program, and then more importantly, part of the family. So it's all about character for us.
Now that you're a coach and going into teaching, what similar traits do you take into teaching from coaching?
All of them. I mean, to be a great coach, you got to be a great teacher. You know, when I first started 6 years, 7 years ago when I was coaching, I thought you had to just be a yeller. I thought you had to call them out their name to get them rolling because that's how I was coached. And then the more I got into it, the more my standards changed, as I changed my faith and what have you and started to be more mature and adult. Like I realized, hey, it's all about relationship. The guys got to know you love them and care for them before they actually listen to you.
That's
And,
right.
and same thing with the students. If you do not have a relationship, if they cannot feel that you generally love them and want the best for them, then they're not going to listen to you. Then it's
Yeah,
just empty words. Um, I'm not afraid about the kids reaching the content and passing their test. I know these are some more smart kids. They're going to do that, but I want to make sure they know Eric Hayes, Mr. Hayes loves them and wants the best for them. And same thing for the players. Like, you know, I'm blessed with the opportunity right now. Some of the players I coached last year, they just come by my room. I
yeah,
have a couple who just literally every chance they get, every lunch they have, they're going to come to my room and they're just going to sit there. They're going to be on their phone. They're just going to sit there and be in the presence.
yeah.
So I truly value those relationships, and that's what it's all about. That's what it's
That's
all about.
powerful. That's powerful. Let's talk about the growth mindset, and I was kind of leading up to it because I wanted people to get to know who you are, what you're doing, uh, and we're talking about how educators can benefit from a growth mindset.
Mm.
What are some of the ways that we can benefit from a growth? What is a growth mindset? If you could define that, what is a growth mindset?
To me, growth mindset is you are consistently always getting better. You're always striving to grow. Like you're never content with your ability to impact others. I'm content at being a husband, being a father. I know I want nothing more than to be a husband and a father, but I want to be a better husband this year than I was last year. And I never want to stop.
Yeah.
And I realized that the great teachers, great coaches, great leaders, they always have this thirst, this hunger to just do better,
Yeah.
because they know as they get better, they're impacting more people. And then they're spreading that consistent drive to just always grow, because there's always a hill to climb, a mountain to climb. There's always a next phase to get into. So when I think of growth mindset, I just think of like this open road and there's no end in sight.
Wow. Yeah, that's powerful. Always looking to grow, always looking to the next level.
Yeah.
So, that's important, especially in these times, and with knowledge so accessible to us,
Mm.
it's a lot easier to grow. I'm not one where I have so much time to read a book, but I do have Audible.
Yeah.
And so I can still read while I'm moving about and doing things. Or sometimes I just try to carve out time to read and carve out time to, get my mind growing. Or my mind is constantly running.
Yeah.
One of the hardest things to do is shut down my brain.
Hmm.
I'm trying to take a nap, but my brain is running. Oh, what did I forget to do this? Did I forget to do that? But we're always growing and we're always learning.
Hmm. Yeah, no, it's important too. And I think one thing I really realized is that once COVID hit, you had to grow. Like you had to adapt. You had to get used to doing Zoom or online
Yeah.
teaching and virtual this, virtual that. You got a mask on, and um, a kid is here one day, then he's got the next. He's in quarantine, and kids are acting different now. When students came back this fall here in Texas, everybody was back in class.
Yeah.
When last year it was in and out, it was a completely different animal. Like these kids, we had a lot of fights, and we still kind of do at times, because kids didn't understand what it meant to be around social. They didn't have social interaction for like a year and some change.
Wow.
uh yeah, and then just having to do group work, it's still like hard doing that and things like that. So we as educators had to really adapt everything. We were so used to pen and paper, and it was hard. My first year teaching at the school I'm at, it was the kids were always talking nonstop. Now it's like you just got to dig deep to get them even to open up. So
Mm,
you had to adapt or to survive, and
yeah.
especially in education, that's for sure.
I spoke at a school today, and I could tell that the students, they were just like done.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we hear you, but we're done. And so it's trying to prime that engine. It's like trying to get it going again. Now we are part of a speakers academy, and I believe joining that speakers academy is part of the growth mindset. What was the reason why you even joined the academy, to grow in your motivational speaking and to go further with that? What was your reasoning?
Well, yeah, I was just stepping out of coaching, something I knew I was called to do, I was created to do, but life circumstances required me to be home. It was about time to make that switch. We just had my son, so I got 3-year-old, and then I got 2-year-old, and then my daughter, who's our 3-year-old girl, is a child born Down syndrome. So it comes with a little bit more things than my son does. And I was like, you know what, I need to make this move for my family. So it was many months of prayer and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I have to step away from coaching, because although I love coaching, it's the greatest sport on the planet, greatest job out there. It just
Yeah.
takes up a lot of time. So I need to do it for my family. And then my wife was like, hey, you're trying to figure things out. It was last summer. And she's like, why don't you do motivational speaking? I can get behind you 100%. I was like, oh, okay. In my opinion, once your wife says, hey, I'm behind you, there's nothing I can't do. And then it just so happened to see Jeremy Anderson's 2-hour training on a Sunday. She pushed it. She was like, "Hey, do it." I did it. I was like, "Man, this is amazing." She was like, "All right, go get the business credit card. Let's do this thing." And I was like, okay." So she was the real catalyst of me going out here. She's always believed in me. She's always felt that I'm a coach just in general.
Yeah.
I'm a speaker. I'm a motivator. I've been a talker my entire life. And
Yeah.
so now being with the great like leadership like Jeremy Anderson, the Next Level Speakers Academy, and encountering others like yourself, I'm like, man, I am in the right place. I'm getting some great information. The conference was amazing. The podcast is great. the
Yeah.
calls we do, the modules we got. I'm like, man, and more importantly, people like yourself and others who are just like, yeah, we're men who want to just do things the right way, who want to, honor their profession, their families, their creator, and to just really do things to a high level of excellence. And that's what I'm thirsty for. I really want to be around a community that's always getting better. Let's uplift, let's
Yeah.
speak life, hold each other accountable. Criticism is good, constructive criticism. But that constant drive to grow. And that's what
Yeah.
really attracted me to that.
That's right. That's right. Listen, and that is part of the growth mindset.
Yeah.
Going to workshops, going and learning, a new skill within the craft. Because guess what? You've been coaching, you've been teaching. Motivational speaking is right up your alley. Okay. It is right there. And you're taking those same concepts. As a matter of fact, I'm taking a class on instructional coaching.
Mm.
So it's a little, yeah, I'm learning the difference of instructional coaching versus a mentor versus a coach on the football field. So you're learning these different avenues of how we can make an impact to our professionals. How can we make an impact to our teachers? So I
Mhm.
find it's a great opportunity. What is the next step that we can take in having a growth mindset?
Number one is the people you're around, the information you're consuming. Being on social media and having everything pulling for our attention. Being a teacher, I gotta just consistently be on my students' phones. This. I'm like trying to get their attention. And for us as adults, there's so much stuff to grab our attention to get us sidetracked. So I think number one is that if you have a goal, if you have a vision, then you got to surround yourself around the right people. You got to invest in it. And that's the biggest thing I had to understand. Like coming from a single parent background, being raised off food stamps and stuff like that, you have this poverty mindset thinking that, oh, it's too much, I don't have it. But then you realize, wait a second, but why are others getting it? Majority of people are born into wealth, but so how do they get it? Well, they invest what they got. They take risk. They do calculated risk. They're not being irresponsible, but they're surrounding themselves and they're willing to do the work. When we made the investments to join Next Level, it was an investment, and I'm doing the work.
That's right.
And no, it's all about doing the work and changing your viewpoint of what success looks like and realizing, oh, it's a lot of work. And this is why very few people are there. But you got to have the people around you. I'm a real believer. I tell my students all the time, you show me your friends, I show you your future.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's all about the people you're around.
Yeah, listen, we're talking to teacher, motivational speaker Eric Hayes. You can follow him on Instagram at one Eric Hayes. All right. So you want to check him out. You can check out his website, ehayes.org. So you definitely want to check out because we're talking about how educators can benefit from a growth mindset. We're talking about surrounding yourself with the right people. This is what we tell our kids all the time, right? Bad company, brings corruption, right? But good company brings wisdom. I usually tell the students like, listen, hang out with the one that's doing well. And if you're the smartest one in the group, you're in the wrong group. If you're the smartest student in the group, smartest young person in the group, then you're in the wrong group. Because if the group that you have around you is not striving for anything, then you're going to have problems
Yeah.
because eventually you're going to break out of that and grow. You're going to be stuck.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I get real. I just tell the students and people my testimony in high school. Like my freshman year, I was failed 2 classes. I was around the wrong people, people trying to be gangbangers and stuff like that. Saw some things, did some things, and I was like, "Yo, I got to get out of here." Because I saw the handwriting on the wall. I was like, if they're getting suspended, if they're doing this, if they're doing that, it's not too long before I get there. So I have to change my circle. And I really tell my students, I'm like, hey man, like I see where you're going and you
Yeah,
need to change who you're around because what you want and who you are as a person, it don't fit that.
yeah, yeah. You're totally right about that. What's another step we can take to encouraging a growth mindset?
I'd say it's just continue to reflect on who you are. And is this who you are right now? Is that who you want to be for the rest of your life? You know,
Hmm.
especially for our high school students and they're 16, 17 years old, we're always telling them like, who do you want to be? What do you want to do? And I'm 30 years old. And I'm stepping into a completely different lane with speaking now, and leaving coaching and then teaching. So it's like you're consistently evolving on who you are. But a big thing is you have to ask yourself that. You have to self-reflect and be like, you know what? Do I want this? Is what I'm doing reflecting of who my true character is, who I was created to be, who my parents and my guardians raised me to be? Is
Yeah.
this who I want to be for the rest of my life? And if not, what do I do to change it?
Yeah, yeah. That's powerful. Reflect. In fact, in our last podcast, we talked about reflecting. Reflection is great for living a healthy and prosperous life, right? Reflection, coming back and looking at, oftentimes when I'm speaking, I'm like, oh man, I got to go back. I got to listen to it. I got to reflect, man. What was I saying? But reflect on who you are. That's going to be a key step into moving forward.
Mhm.
A key step. And I guess as a coach, did you watch a lot of film that you had the players reflect on?
Oh man, let me tell you, in the state of Texas, that is 7 days a week, 365. It was film all the time, and you had to watch the film. We have a saying: "The eye in the sky does not lie." Players would be like, "Well, this happened." We're like, "Okay, let's look to the film." Nope, that didn't happen. Or yes, that did happen. So it's all about what is on tape. What was done? Did you do what I taught you to do? Yes or no? And how did you do it? Or how didn't you do it? You know, so it's all about what the proof is in the pudding, so to speak. So we were
So
always harping on that.
after a game, I mean, you're looking at film. Are you looking at the from the beginning of the game to the end of the game?
Oh yeah,
How are
everything.
you doing that?
Everything. So depending on the coach I was with, I was a stats guy. So you name it, I did it. Every number that was imaginable, pie chart, whatever charts, I did it. Color coordinated, you name it. So I knew that because we didn't do what we were taught to do, what we ran throughout the week, they got a first down 80% of the time, or second down they got an 50% or what have you. So we looked at every detail possible to make sure that what we were doing was working, and if it wasn't, why? Was it technique? We graded tackles. We graded tackles to their positioning beforehand, uh, right before contact, as contact is going, how many yards they drove them back. Was it successful? Was it what we taught? Was it lazy? What did the person bring, like the right intensity? All these factors, you name it, we were looking at it.
Wow,
Yeah, yeah. So it
that's
depends on
intense.
in Texas. You got to be like that because every school, every district is different, and it's such a high level. Like when you're playing the state championship at AT&T Stadium, and there's 50,000 people for a semi game, it's
Wow,
different.
wow. Oh, I can imagine. I can imagine. So, are you telling me you're a Cowboys fan?
No, no. So I'm not a native. I'm a Broncos fan. So I'm different. I'm different over here. So
Ah,
I'm not a native to Texas,
well,
but
you're from Arizona.
yeah, I'm
How did that
weird.
happen?
I'm weird like that. So I was originally I'm all over the place, but originally I was born in Long Island, New York, and then my parents moved to Tucson, Arizona, and I started to watch football around '97, right when the Broncos won, and I just stuck with them. You
That's
know,
right. That's right. Yeah,
the
yeah.
highs and the lows. So I've stayed with them through all this time.
Yep, yep. I get it. I get it. I mean, the whole NFL is just going through a lot right now.
Yeah, yeah,
But
100%.
so we're talking about how to experience. How can educators benefit from a growth mindset? What's our third point that we want to talk about tonight?
Well, we want to make sure that they're always continue to surround themselves around different environments. It could be speaking, it could be counseling. One of the things I'm doing is I'm the social emotional learner ambassador for my campus. And that's something that our district is really pushing. So it's a completely different lane. Not only we surround ourselves with different people that we talked about earlier, but we're doing something completely out of our realm of influence, uh, our comfortable. I mean, our like we're comfortable with. As males, and this is in Western society, we're not taught to share our feelings very well, and what that means. I'm telling my students to look at a feelings wheel. They're like, "What is this thing?" So all these different things, and just the mere fact of me being a SEL ambassador is new for me. I'm training teachers. Okay, when a student's yelling at you or doing this, don't match them, right? If they're yelling, don't you yell. You need to speak calmly, right? Give them space. Give yourself space. And more importantly, before you enter this school building, your mind, body, and spirit have to be ready to go. You have to be ready for whatever's coming. If you come in there, you woke up late, you're running around, you didn't eat breakfast, you didn't have your coffee, your kids didn't sleep or what have you, and next thing you know, you're just like, on edge. You don't know what's going to happen. There's been times this past year where I'm like in my car, I say my prayer. I'm like, all right, let's go. And I get in there, and next thing you know, boom, someone's, talking about suicide. Boom, someone's cussing me out, cussing the student out. Boom, there's a fight going on. Boom, just whatever can happen. And if you're not prepped, if you're not putting yourself in different environments to learn different strategies and things like that, then you're not ready for what's to come.
That's the nail on the head right there. SEL is it's in every fabric of our life.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's interesting that now we've had to brand it, but
Yeah.
the struggles that we deal with from day to day is SEL.
Yeah.
I think not one of the most important, but one of the greatest things that stand out about SEL is that self awareness. And as a teacher or as a student, if we can teach them to be aware, self aware, we can teach them to know themselves, understand, okay, this is a trigger. This is what's going to get me upset or get me into a bad situation. Then I know, okay, I'm aware of that, and then that leads to the other things of social awareness and responsible decision making. I feel like it blends into all of those. What do you find as one of the I can't say that one was more important than the other, but I guess something that you would start with.
No, definitely self-awareness and knowing what gets you to that point. We have these little chart that says what get to green. Green is where the sweet spot is. Everything's great. You're joyful. You're learning. Everything's good. But once you're at red, you're fighting whatever's happening, and you got to really know what sets you off. Like I have a group of students where actually right now that no substitute wants to sub that class.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's a group of ladies, and they're great young girls. They're awesome students, but they have quick triggers. And I have built a good relationship to where I can manage that. I can flow with it. But if someone else who comes in there who doesn't know their triggers, who doesn't know how to react,
Yeah.
then they're gonna call the assistant principal, right? And that's happened a few times. Every time I'm out, their assistant principal's called, and every time I come back, they're like, "Don't you dare leave us again! How dare you?" I was like, "Look, I can't be here all the time. You gotta learn how to conduct yourself."
Yeah.
So self awareness is huge, and also realizing that it's not about what they say or do; it's about what you can control. If you have to defend yourself, like physically, of course, if being attacked, that's something different. But if you're not sure how that person is communicating to you and you feel like it's an attack, it's probably not. And even if it is, you have to approach those things calmly and with the proper techniques. But a lot of times they're not taught that. But I could tell them, hey, process, slow down, reflect. How are you feeling right now? Do you need to engage this conversation? Step back. It's okay. I told one student one time, I was like, hey, if you're in a mood before you get in here, peek your head in. And if you see a sub, I need you to take some time. If you're late, so be it. We'll discuss it. But take some time. Don't come in here with being hot because of what happened beforehand. And it's a sub. So you're not going to react well. Take some time. I'd rather have you late than come in here with like ready
Mm,
guns drawn. So
right.
that's self-awareness, knowing what
And
sets you
self
off is huge.
management.
Oh, for sure.
You
For
just
sure.
mentioned self management.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now I know what my triggers are. Now I know how to manage it. Now I know how to
Yeah.
process it. But my biggest thing is making sure I'm teaching the skills to do that because a lot of people don't.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's part of the growth mindset. When you're self-aware, you're aware of yourself, you're aware of how what I also ask what encourages you, what
Mhm.
energizes you, what motivates you, right? So not just the what triggers you, but what motivates you. And how can you take that to the next level?
Yeah.
So all of those things, and then relationship building, that's especially for teachers, you have to learn how to build relationships. By the time I got to eighth grade, I'd been to 5 different schools. So
Mm.
I actually learned just by happenstance to build relationships. Now I can go anywhere and build a relationship, and
Yeah.
that's stuff that carries on.
Yeah, absolutely. I learned real early that it's all about relationship because I knew I was good at that. I wasn't necessarily good with pedagogy or even the content because I came in so fresh and not trained really. But I knew I could generally, you know, care about somebody and I could generally let them know, hey, this is who I am. I'm gonna speak the truth. I'm gonna love you, and I'm gonna be here for you. So I knew that that was number one, and it's paid off. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's powerful. Wow. Well, listen, we want to share with everybody. Listen, this is Eric Hayes, teacher, motivational speaker. So you can check his website out, ehayes.org. You can follow him on Instagram, one Eric Hayes, at one Eric Hayes. So guess what? You're going to get a lot of content from him, and he's going to be able to speak life into you. So we've talked about how educators can benefit from a growth mindset. We talked about surrounding yourself with the right people that are going in the same direction. It's not just for the students, it's also for the teachers. It's also for the principals. Surround yourself with people who are at high levels of education, high levels of thinking, high levels of creativity. So surround yourself with the right people, reflect on who you are, what you want to be, where you want to go, how you want to get there. Reflection is critical. And also surround yourself with a different environment. I'm gonna tell you, I'm a person that loves water scenes. I love water scenes,
Hmm.
and anywhere I can go, whether it's a lake, whether it's the ocean, any spot that I can just kind of park and just reflect for a minute by a water scene is great for me. It's great for me. Anywhere to get my peace of mind.
No, absolutely. I love the beach. I love the country. I tell my students all the time, I'm like, I'm tired of the city. I want to be in the country. I want to be around, yeah, in the sticks, so to speak, and have my own land and go hunting and stuff like that. So anything, I'm at the place now where I'm like, I was raised in the city, I've been around the city. I'm a natural extrovert as it is. I want home to be peaceful and to be around trees and,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So I get you.
Yeah, that's powerful. That's powerful. Well, man, I thank you so much for being a part of this podcast. We'd love everybody to go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Shaping Your New Start, where we discuss everything and anything education. This is what we do from week to week. We're discussing education. We're discussing different levels, different angles of education. So we'd love for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram, Dr. Phil _2, or on Twitter, Dr. Phil 2 _. You can find me whichever way. You can book me to speak at www.drphil2.com. I want to thank you, man, for being a part of this podcast.
Yes, sir.
And
Thank you so much.
yeah, man, I look forward to seeing you really expand your territory. I look forward to seeing you grow and continue to get out there. So I hope my hope for you is that people hear all the gifting that you have inside you, and give you that call. So everybody, you can check him out for your events, ehayes.org.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And everybody, we're here to help. We're here to get better and always have a growth mindset.
That's it. That's it. That's what we're here to do. All the best to you and your family, your young family, and I got a 2-year-old too, bro. So I know it's one of them things. All right. Thank you to our sponsor, McGuire Wear, McGuireENT.com/McGuire Wear. Get your Don't Quit hoodies. Don't quit. Do it. Don't quit. Do it. But even though I said don't quit, we're about to quit. But we thank you, everybody, for supporting and joining this podcast. This is the Shaping Your New Start Education Podcast. This is where you shape your new start.